Hi, my name is Jessie Lam, and I'm a partner at AiiM Partners. We invest in infrastructure technology with a climate lens. Well, I was so fortunate to be able to join your summit in April at San Francisco Climate Week, and so of course I wanted to be part of this community again and share, a lot of what our portfolio companies have been working on. So, integrating DACs into data centers, also looking at a lot of supply chain data, because there's so much turmoil in the world now, and a lot of things can actually help make things more equal, more neutral, and that would actually share a lot of the types of data packets so they're not so siloed across the world. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow, also about, data centers, alternative energies, areas I think that will make a real impact on humanity, and also happens to make really sustainable returns as well. I feel like that's like a really fatalistic way to think about it because there's always problems. We're not the first generation to kind of encounter problems. And so, we have to kind of try, right? If you don't try, then nobody's trying. And so, we will take on what we can for this generation, and that's because we are also taking on other things that the prior generation has passed on to us, and we're going to pass on to them. If we look at a longer term time horizon, rather than a 3, 5, 7-year fund structure, then you're actually going to be able to have a longer term on how we can actually move the needle. I hope it's in our lifetime, but even if it's mitigation, that's still a step towards reversing some of the impacts of climate change. I mean, everybody has their own part to play in the ecosystem. I mean, a lot of VCs, what we get to see is lots of new technologies. That's literally our job, is to have amazing deal flow, to assess them from a scientific perspective, from a returns perspective. And I think a lot of that ends up being siloed. Like I was saying, data packets are siloed, but also this type of investment knowledge gets siloed. So with the coalition here, with Atlas Capital, it brings everybody together. The founders that are doing something that's really impactful, the VCs that have put them through all of this due diligence, and it's like, okay, this makes a really great investment. And then the family offices who want to be part of that ecosystem and can fund a lot of these tech startups, especially at the early stages when they need some of that capital, right? And then later on, as they hit growth equity, family offices, depending on their size, can also be part of that solution. So we want to make all of those connections, and then corporate partners are really important, reaching out to SMEs, governments, it's all part of the ecosystem, and we all have a role to play within that. And as we have more discussions, we're actually enabling a lot more of that knowledge as well as that capital to flow freely to the places that would have the most impact on our generations.